my hair grows really fast. That is genetics. Because my hair grows back so quickly, I have done the big chop twice. My last big chop was 2 years ago. This is the fastest my hair has grown ever. So I want to talk about a little bit about what I did differently this time around. Spoiler alert, it hasn't been the products that I've been using. Hi, if you're interested, my name is Taylor Camille. Thank you for joining me, and please consider subscribing. Growing up, I was always tenderheaded. If you do not know what that means, it's okay. Tenderheaded is a term that is very common in Black communities, and it basically means that you have a sensitive scalp. Black people, we have a lot of hairstyles that require tight braiding. So when you think of like box braids or when you think of cornrows, if you have ever had a French braid done or somebody has braided your hair back in any sort of way and that braid hurt, imagine that 10 times tighter, and that is a cornrow. It's very tight up against your scalp, and a lot of Black people don't have an issue having those braids done or those styles done, and it doesn't hurt them. For me, they do hurt, and any detangling does hurt. So growing up as a child, I was very tenderheaded. Any trip to the salon was a nightmare. With the curly hair experience, our hair tends to knot up a lot quicker than people who have straight hair. And so what would happen is that I'd go to the salon, my hair would be super knotted up, and it would hurt to the point where I would cry when the people in the salon chair would detangle it. And the same would happen when I was home with my mom. It's essentially a nightmare. And I'm still tenderheaded to this day, and I still avoid salons to this day, which is kind of how I got into doing my own hair in the first place. Like, this is where it all started. Just the fact that I am in pain when somebody else does my hair. And, you know, in the past, I've been in pain when I do my own hair. It's not necessarily anybody else's fault. It just like is the way of the world. So growing up, I was very tenderheaded. And for most of my life, up until I was 14, my hair was kept in 2 pigtails. It was the only style I would sit down for. Like, to be honest, I couldn't do it, and my mom was sick of it. And all of my family members, all my siblings, and my mom, we all have different hair types. My poor mom didn't know how to manage my hair because mine was different than hers, and mine tangled up a lot easier than hers. And I was also tenderheaded, and my mom's not tenderheaded, so she really didn't know how to handle it. And the only style she could put my hair in was in 2 pigtails. So I had no real idea that my hair could curl. It was very frizzy when I tried to leave it out. Like, I saw it curl when it was wet, but when it dried, it just was one big frizz ball, and it would knot up as well. And so it really wasn't worth it to me to not have the pigtails, even though the pigtails were annoying. And when I got to a certain age, I hated having them, but there were no options because detangling my hair again was a nightmare for me. And then when I was in 9th grade, I decided I needed to make a change. I needed to figure out my hair. And with a lot of hairspray and a ton of hair gel, I managed to wear my hair down curly for the first time ever. And nobody in my life had ever seen my hair like that. I'd never seen my hair like that. And it was like a whole new world because I truly didn't know the potential of how I could wear my hair and what was possible. And I also feel like I didn't have a lot of role models showing natural hair growing up as well. It was completely new to me. That being said, I didn't go to salons when I was younger. I never got my hair done professionally, and I never got my hair trimmed professionally. So when I started doing my hair for the very first time on my own, my hair would tangle so easily when I did anything. And it felt like every 3 days in the morning when I'm detangling, I'm crying in the shower out of frustration because of how difficult it was to detangle at the time. One day in 10th grade, I finally sat with a stylist, and she was like, Taylor, your split ends are all the way up to here. And that is why you have a nightmare detangling your hair. Your hair is so damaged. And I truly think the best option for you, because they're so high up, would be for you to cut it all off and start over. And honestly, the idea of trying a new hairstyle was very enticing to me. The idea of waking up and not spending an hour in the mornings on my hair was incredibly attractive to me. That was a very attractive option to me. And so after about a couple days of thinking on it, I went back to her chair and I said, cut it off. cut it off. Like, it was so serious for me. And I regretted nothing. Everybody told me not to do it. My mom didn't want me to do it. My friends didn't want me to do it. And I did it anyway. And it was the greatest thing I could have done. And I'd do it again because suddenly I was taking 10-minute showers. I would wash my hair, condition my hair, 10-minute showers, no more split ends. It was incredible. It was amazing. I was like, I didn't know life could be this way. This is amazing. And I had a cute little bob. It was the cutest thing in the world. And I kept it straightened, but with a lot of heat protectant, And I kept it straight, but it was shorter. So I could just do it myself. I could straighten it myself. It was literally the greatest thing in the world. And as it grew, I was like, oh, I want to try something else new. And I dyed the ends. So I had like a little ombre because my mom didn't let me put highlights all throughout my hair. So I had like a little ombre for a bit, and then it kept growing. And I think about my junior year of high school, when I was 16, I dyed my hair brown, and I was a brunette. And I stayed a brunette all the way until I finished college. So that was years of me continuously dyeing my roots, continuously upkeeping my hair, and staying a brunette. And mind you, I have jet black hair. I have like the blackest hair you can imagine. And so to get it to that brunette color, I had to use bleach. And bleach is damaging no matter what. Bleach will damage your hair no matter what you try to put in it to protect it, it's going to damage your hair. So eventually, as my hair started to get longer and longer, it became hard to comb through again. And it was hard to detangle. And after years and years of spending hours detangling my hair in the shower, I got sick of it again at 22 years old. And at 22 years old, I was like, I cannot live like this. I cannot cry in the shower when I detangle it. I need it gone. And I cut it all again. Now, mind you, that was 2 years ago. And I want to say the difference between how fast my hair grew from when I cut it at 15 years old, the first time I cut it, it took 5 years to grow to this length. And the second time I cut it, it took 2 years to grow to this length. And it's because the way I approach my hair completely changed from the time when I was 15 to now. And the way that I treated my hair at 15 is entirely different to how I treat my hair now. And it truly, truly, truly has made a difference. When I cut my hair the second time, my family was like, please don't do it. That is a terrible idea. And my boyfriend was like, don't do it. That's a terrible idea. You're going to regret it. And I was like, no, it's so damaged. I feel like I can get it to a point where it's not insufferable anymore. I can't keep living like this. Like, I cry in the shower when I detangle it, and I don't want to do this anymore. And I cut it, and then I let it grow back. My hair is incredibly long again, and it is still easy to detangle. It is just as easy to detangle as when it was short. And it's because I've been treating my hair with so much more care than before. It's because I've been treating my hair with so much more respect than I did. And I've been doing things that truly make a difference. And when I tell you that none of those things require you to open your wallets, require you to buy a new product, I have 10 subscribers. I have literally nothing to sell to you. So I wanted to share my secrets from experience, and hopefully other people can gain something from this, because I've tried every product in the book. I've tried every gadget or gimmick. At the end of the day, money can only do so much. After cutting my hair off twice and growing it back twice, here are the biggest changes I've made, and the biggest things that have truly, truly made a difference when growing all of my hair back. Okay, I'm going to tell the story, all right? And I'm going to mention a product. You don't have to buy this product. This product just put me on a path. This put me on the path to redemption, okay? You don't have to purchase this. I need to give the background to explain to you how I even discovered this. So one day, after trying many, many things, I was in the market for a new hairbrush, because the problem that I was continuously having with my hairbrushes is that they hurt. And, there are all these hairbrushes on the market that tell you that, oh, this one doesn't cause pain, this one doesn't make it hurt for you, you can comb through, yada, 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 yada. And not all of them work. So like I've tried wet brushes, I've tried multiple brands, multiple types of wet brushes. And the problem with wet brushes for me is that even though wet brushes are pain-free, they do not detangle my hair. My hair is just a bit too thick for them. It's too big for them. And I just would comb away and I wouldn't see any progress happen that actually detangled my hair. So then I used paddle brushes, which the traditional paddle brush, it is like these bristles with little balls at the end, and they are very effective at detangling, but they were very rough on my scalp and they hurt, even though they worked. But I kind of felt like I kind of was backed into a corner, and I felt like if I didn't use a paddle brush, my hair is not going to get detangled. And so for years, I used a paddle brush. Like back when I was in high school, I used the paddle brush, and I had just been using a paddle brush all those years. And yes, I had like a wide tooth comb as well along with it, but the paddle brush it got every single knot, and I needed every single knot to be gone. So after trying many, 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 many brushes, one day I got a Sephora gift card for $50, and I spent that $50 on a $50 Denman brush that was shaped like a paddle brush, and I thought nothing of it. I was like, this is my little splurge. I'm not telling you to buy this brush, just let me explain. And when I used the brush, it worked like a traditional paddle brush. It got all the knots out, but it didn't hurt. And I was mind blown. I was like, what the hell is different about this brush? This brush looks exactly the same. What crack is in this brush for this to be happening to me? Why doesn't this hurt? You know, I was in like a state of shock. And I realized it's because the brush didn't have the balls at the end that a normal paddle brush would have. I realized it's just the bristles are smooth, but they are still structured, and they are still like thick enough to still manage to get all the way through my hair and detangle everything. And for the first time in my life, I was detangling pain-free, which was huge for me. I realized a couple months later that suddenly my hair had like doubled in length out of nowhere. And my coworker is the one who brought it to my attention. She was like, Taylor, I feel like your hair is suddenly significantly longer in the past couple of months. And I looked at photos and I was like, oh my God, you're right. And I totally know the one thing I changed that made this difference. And it was my fancy paddle brush. And I think it's because the paddle brush doesn't hurt. I think it's because it isn't pulling on my scalp, and it isn't hurting me and irritating me so that my hair can like fully grow and be free. But also it's not breaking my hair off as I pull through it. So it doesn't collect hair that doesn't need to be collected. It isn't ripping my hair out. And I realized, oh my goodness, this whole time I've been being held back because I've been hurting myself when I detangle. So I switched. I completely changed everything. And I started finger detangling when I didn't have my brush. So like, I don't always have my brush. I don't have my brush right now. I don't take it on trips. And I learned how to properly finger detangle. So you were just as gentle and you were reducing the tension on your scalp at all times. It's kind of like the same thing when people say, don't wear a tight hairband because the tension isn't good for you. I can imagine detangling your hair and ripping your scalp out with a paddle brush probably also isn't good for you. That kind of tension is literally like probably really terrible for you. And I've noticed that my hair has a lot more of an elasticity than it ever has before, because I think it's just been allowed the space to just grow and be free and be healthy without getting ripped out by a brush every single week. I will say my next big change that I made that I think has also contributed to this, I am vegetarian. And if you didn't know this, there are a lot of vitamins that vegetarians don't get that meat eaters get a lot easier. Like, for example, iron. A lot of people get iron from red meats, and You can get iron from broccoli, but you get a lot less of it. B12. A lot of people get B12 from fish. Vegetarians don't eat fish. And so there are a lot of nutrients that vegetarians often miss. And for a few months, I started tracking everything I ate so that I could see the vitamins that I miss on a daily basis. And this didn't start because I was worried about my hair or anything like that. I did this because I was really tired after work and I wanted to fill up my day and not be super sleepy and super exhausted every single day. And so I completely changed my vitamin regimen and I started really small, and I'm still small. I don't think you need to I don't think you need to break the bank to take care of your health. And really, you could just target your eating or put more things in your diet to give you the vitamins that you're missing. For me, because I'm vegetarian, that was really difficult for me. I really tried. So now I take a women's one a day. I think that was like the cheapest vitamin multi-supplement on the market, and I really liked that it had iron, zinc, and all these things in one single pill. So every day I take a women's one a day, and that has changed how I feel on a day-to-day basis. It's changed how I work out. It's changed my hair texture. It's changed everything. I just feel so much stronger and much healthier. So I would say if you aren't getting your daily vitamins, check if you're getting your daily vitamins. Talk to your PCP about getting blood work done and seeing if you have your daily vitamins done. Are you getting enough iron every day? Because you'd be surprised how many people are not. The next biggest change that I made that has just improved my lifestyle tremendously is I didn't really have much of a styling routine before. So before I would just kind of wash my hair when I thought it was appropriate. And I didn't do much styling. I had products, but they were kind of mostly only used when I wanted to refresh my hair or out of desperation. So I would just brush it all together and just see however it dries and then just kind of go with the flow there. That presented two issues for me. One, my hair didn't always look good. And most of the time it didn't look good. And most of the time I didn't like how it looked on a given day. And it was kind of like a toss. So I couldn't really control how my hair looked on a given day. And two, I didn't have a schedule for when I detangled it. And so sometimes, depression would get the best of me, mental health would get the best of me. So once I started really taking focus in my hair and having like a set style routine where I style it at least once a week and detangle it once a week, even if I'm not washing and conditioning it within that same week, my hair was getting detangled more often. I liked how my hair dried. It was much more consistent on a regular basis. And overall, I was just happy. I felt like I looked good and I felt good. And I think that was really important for me when it came to setting up a schedule, especially for detangling, so that it wasn't overwhelming and so that I can continue to finger detangle. Because if your hair gets so tangled up, there does come a point where you can't finger detangle anymore. And I think that's also why I've been able to be so gentle on my scalp this time around. My last tip I will say, and this is a personal preference, but I will say for me, the biggest thing I learned is that less product is more. I have watched videos where people talk about how having too much hair product in your hair can really clog your pores and stop growth. I don't know too much about that, but what I do know is that I love for my hair to be big and voluminous as possible. This is day one hair. It gets way bigger and it will be way bigger tomorrow. So sorry to embarrass, but I usually like my hair to be as big as possible. I am okay with frizz and volume. I am not okay with no frizz and no volume. I want my hair to be as big as possible. That is just a personal preference. People like it different ways. But for me, because I like my hair to be as big as possible, I have like a medium hair texture and thickness when it comes to thickness. And so products do weigh it down. And what the most valuable thing I've learned from having a styling routine is that heavier products are going to weigh my hair down and make it look much flatter. My biggest thing is making sure that when I have shampoo and when I have conditioner in my hair, I wash it out all the way. I need all gone. So I will sit under the shower, under the water for so long, because if it's still in my hair when I'm styling, it weighs the whole thing down. It ruins my volume. It's just not the vibe that I'm looking for. And it really weighs my hair down for the next week or so before I style it again. And it ruins my day, just frankly. But also, I look for lighter mousses because, again, I don't want my hair weighed down. So I look for a light mousse instead of like a heavy gel, which, again, this completely differs by hair texture. Like my sister, for example, she has about like 4B to 4C hair. And so she will be looking for a super heavy gel at all times to really define, if she wanted to define her curls or that sort of thing. For me, I have like thinner to medium thickness compared to her. And so my hair will get weighed down really easily. But I also think that's been really good for my hair in the long term. No tension, gentle, and less product. So those are my secrets, I guess. Those are the things that I've noticed have made like huge changes to just my life and how I look. And now I get so many compliments on my hair, which I love because I put so much work into it. So much work. So years of labor have gone into this. So I'm just happy to pass along anything I know, because Lord knows when I cut all my hair off the first time, I was on YouTube watching every single curly hair video I could find. So I just hope this helps someone else. And I hope this encourages anybody to know that you don't have to spend a ton of money to get the hair that you want, to look the way that you want. You can make things work the way they are. And I hope this is helpful. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know if you are interested in any other videos. My name is Taylor Camille, and I hope you subscribe, and I hope you come back. Love ya.